Okay, we've all been there, right? A chart full of lines and bars pops up on the screen and your brain just freezes. It can feel super overwhelming, but I promise you it doesn't have to be. Today, we're going to demystify all that data and give you a simple toolkit to read any chart like a pro. You know that exact feeling, don't you? A slide with a crazy-looking graph shows up, and you're just thinking, where do I even start with this thing? It's a totally common feeling, but believe me, the fix is way simpler than you'd think. And here's the secret. You do not need a degree in data science for this. Nope. All you need is a simple, repeatable toolkit that you can use every single time. And here it is. This is our game plan. It's a simple 3-step process to build your data confidence. First, we're going to master the quick scan. Then we'll become data detectives, locating and comparing key facts. And finally, we'll learn to see the real story hidden inside the numbers. So let's just dive right in.
First up is the foundation. I like to call this getting your bearings. And honestly, it is the most crucial part of the whole process. And do you know what the best part is? It only takes about 15 seconds.
Yeah, you heard me right. Just 15 seconds. We are not looking for answers yet. This is all about a quick, disciplined orientation. It's the most important step, and what's wild is that it's also the fastest. So what are you actually doing in those 15 seconds? Well, you're not trying to find the answer. Your only job is to build a quick mental map. You check the title, what's this thing even about? You scan the labels, you look at the units, you figure out what the rows and columns represent. That's it. You're just getting your bearings before you start the real journey. Okay, so once you've got your bearings, it is time to put on your detective hat. Let's move on to our second step, finding specifics. Now, the crucial thing here is that we're shifting from a passive scan to an active investigation. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to pull out the facts, find specific values, make simple comparisons. Is this number bigger than that one? And always, always keep an eye out for anything that breaks the pattern, like a crazy outlier or a sudden jump. This is the really practical part of step 2. You're now equipped to answer those direct questions, like, hey, what was the revenue in Q2? Or which product had the highest engagement? This is where you actually pull out those specific, hard data points.
All right, so we've scanned to get oriented, and we've played detective to find the facts. Now let's move to the final step, which is where it all builds to the most satisfying part, seeing the story in the data. So before we can find the story, we need to know what a story even looks like in data. And fundamentally, that's a trend. A trend is really just the overall direction or pattern. Is it going up? Is it going down? Is there a recurring cycle like a peak or a valley? This is basically the narrative arc of your numbers. This is where it all comes together beautifully. We're not just focused on a single bar on the chart anymore. We're seeing the whole big picture. Is there steady growth like we're seeing here? Or is the pattern more irregular and kind of unpredictable? This is where you find the real insight, and you can even start to make a good guess about what might happen next. So that's the 3-step framework. You scan, you locate, and you find the story. Now, to help you put this into practice right away, let's pull it all together into a really simple strategy cheat sheet. Think of this as your go-to guide. It basically matches the type of question you're being asked with the right strategy. So if it's a direct lookup, read the question first so you know what you're hunting for. If it's trend detection, you might want to focus on the key numbers to see the overall pattern. It's a really simple way to turn this whole idea into a practical action plan. Ultimately, what we've been talking about is a journey. And it's a journey that this quote from Carly Fiorina just captures perfectly. You start with raw data, just a bunch of numbers on a page. You use your skills to organize it into information, which is clear, understandable facts. And then from that information, you find the insight, the story, the so what behind it all. So the next time you're face to face with a chart, you're not going to see a barrier, you're going to see an opportunity. You've got the toolkit, you've got the strategy. The only question left is this: what stories will your data tell you?